This will be the first video in a series on our Western Mediterranean cruise. Our cruise would begin and end in Barcelona, Spain. We came in a couple of days early to enjoy the city. Our first place to visit would be a 140-year-old building that is still under construction and will not be completed until at least the year 2030. This incomplete 140-year-old building still draws tourists and pilgrims from around the world. I'm speaking of the minor basilica Sagrada Familia. The building has been under construction since March 1882 and will not be completed until at least the year 2030. However, this does bring to mind a question of why has it taken 140 years to get the building to this point. We'll answer that in a moment. This is a model of the basilica. The areas shaded in brown have not been completed as of early 2023. I will not attempt to give you a complete history of this magnificent structure. However, I will give you enough to hopefully encourage you to plan your own visit. Here you see a section of the Nativity facade. The older section on the left was completed in 1936. On the right is newer construction. This video will not do it justice, but trust me, the view when you first enter the basilica is simply astounding. The architect intended for the interior columns to resemble trees with their branches supporting the ceiling, but more on the architect later. Visiting the basilica does require the advance purchase of admission tickets. Of course, this is the 21st century, so there is an app for that too. We scheduled our tour to begin right after the basilica opened. As you can see, we managed to avoid some of the crowds. However, by the time we left, the crowd had definitely built up. The central columns supporting the nave are 45 meters or 148 feet tall. The stone for the basilica was sourced from nearby Montjuic, also in northeastern Spain. However, those quarries closed in the 1970s, forcing the basilica to be constructed with reclaimed stone from other projects or from stone sourced from around the world. The side nave columns are 30 meters or 98 feet tall. The original primary architect, Antoni Gaudi, died in 1926 when the project was only about 25% completed. He is buried in the crypt inside the church. When we purchased our tickets to tour the basilica, we also added the optional access to one of the towers. Fortunately, the basilica has elevators to access the towers. Once you arrive at the top of the bell tower via the elevator, you are free to move about on your own. The bell towers offer, of course, some great views of the city as well as lower levels of the basilica. There are several reasons why the construction project has taken 140 years thus far. Of course, with any project on this scale, a primary concern is funding. The funding for construction has never been supplied by any government agency or the Roman Catholic Church. Private patrons funded the initial construction. Currently, the construction is funded through ticket sales to tourists as well as private donations. Of course, various outside issues have caused construction to halt over the years from time to time. One of the major issues was the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s. A very long spiral staircase is your exit from the towers. In contrast to the highly carved and decorated nativity sod at the entrance, the other side, known as the Passion facade, is very plain and simple. Gaudi's original design calls for a total of 18 spires, 11 of which have been completed. Spires represent in ascending order of height the 12 apostles, followed by the Virgin Mary, then the 4 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and of course the tallest spire will represent Jesus Christ. The central spire of Jesus Christ is to be surmounted by a giant cross and will be a total of 172.5 meters high. Completion of this spire will make Sagrada Familia the tallest church building in the world. The building also includes a museum as well as the required gift shop. The museum includes many of the models that have been used over the years to plan the construction of the basilica. This view into the workshop that creates the models for the construction is perhaps the most interesting part of the museum. The area surrounding Sagrada Familia is a very lively part of town, full of restaurants and bars, and of course, plenty of opportunities to do a little shopping. These officers pulled up while we were having lunch. I'm not sure what they were guarding, but I'm sure it was very safe. After exploring the area around Sagrada Familia and eating lunch, we then took about a 10-minute walk to another one of Gaudi's works nearby. Casa Batlló is on Passeig de Gràcia Street, which is the center of the high-end shopping district of Barcelona. Every luxury brand you can think of has a storefront near this area. The UNESCO World Heritage Convention lists 7 buildings designed by Gaudi. Here are a few of the other buildings in Barcelona that are part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be on the lookout for more videos on our Western Mediterranean cruise as well as many other adventures.